Anti-Catholic sentiment and the NDP. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.Media. Once upon a time, the New Democratic Party used to be really close to the left wing of the Catholic Church. In fact, they had a priest as a member of Parliament for the NDP years ago. He's one of the reasons the Catholic Church came out with a rule saying you could either be a priest or a politician, but you can't be both. You can't be tending to the flock and sitting in Parliament at the same time. Those were the days, I suppose. Now, you've got a top aide to Tom Mulcair putting out such anti-Catholic bigotry that he had to apologize. Shawn Dearne, former broadcaster, former civil servant, longtime communications professional, and someone that should know better, said this on social media 2 years ago. Memo to CBC and all media, stop calling the misogynist, homophobic, child-molesting Catholic Church a moral authority. It's not. In a previous tweet, he had responded to the now former Pope, but then Pope Benedict, go F yourself. Let's play that game that we all play when someone gets into trouble for saying something that goes against Catholics or evangelical Christians. What would happen to them if they said it about Islam, if they said it about gays and lesbians, if they said it about certain ethnic groups, obviously not all, but certain ethnic groups? Well, we know what would happen. Shawn Dearne would be fired. In fact, that's what happened to a Conservative volunteer who said some things that the Aboriginal People's Television Network didn't like about the newly crowned Mrs. Universe. She was fired, a volunteer fired, over comments that were nowhere near as bad as what Shawn Dearne said about the Catholic Church. And yet, Tom Mulcair, full kudos to CBC's Hannah Thibodeau for asking the question. She put it to him. What do you say about Dearne's comments? Well, Mulcair apparently is in favor of giving absolution.
Well, he has apologized for those views, and I guess that's going to be part of the world that we're going to be living in now, as people in social media have said things over the years. I've had a chance to talk to him today. His apology was sincere. He felt very bad about it, and I'm more than willing to move on from that. He's a very strong, qualified individual. He's made a mistake, and he's apologized for it. For me, that's enough.
Yes, confession with Father Tom and all is forgiven. I wonder what kind of penance he had to do. Probably not much at all, despite the fact that in every profile of Tom Mulcair you will ever read, he talks about his Catholicism, how deeply it runs through his family and his big Irish Catholic family. Not too concerned about your director of communications thinking nasty thoughts about the church that you say you belong to. All right, well, let's move on from there. Dearne did apologize, and then he said, those aren't my views. Well, whose are they? Are you claiming your Twitter account was hacked? That you posted anti-Catholic sentiment more than once, anti-Catholic bigotry more than once, that you said it in very personal and passionate terms, and yet those aren't your views? Don't lie to us. You know better than that. You've been around radio far too long. We've worked at the same station, Shawn. You know better. You were a government communications person. You know better. And, hey, let's remind people that don't know, Shawn Dearne is married to Ian Capstick. Ian Capstick is a regular on CBC's Power and Politics. Part of why it must have been a little less than comfortable for Hannah Thibodeau to ask that question, because Capstick is a regular. He's a fixture at CBC's Ottawa studios. He'll be on Power and Politics this week, most likely, defending the NDP and talking about all things great and small on the socialist side of the scales. And during his day job, or during the day, he runs a company called Media Style. It's a progressive media communications company. They train people on how to deal with the media. They train people on how to use social media. They train people on how to do messaging. Between the two of them, they had to know that this was not a good idea. They should have known that since Dearne was hired back in February, maybe they should have cleaned that up. But they didn't think anything of it, probably because they still wholeheartedly agree with the sentiment even after the apology. Is that the type of person that Tom Mulcair should have around him? We know what the answer would be if he had said something nasty about Aboriginals or Muslims or any other group that's in favor with the NDP. But since it's just Catholics, well, forget about it. Move on. Not a Tory, not a story.